Yeah, big bases are cool, but they take too long to build and you're gonna get offlined anyway. So let's take the best parts about having an open core, a large furnace, low upkeep, internal auto turrets, and put that into a base that nobody wants to raid anyway. Alright, we're going to start with the basic furnace-based design that we all know and love, and we're going to add a few tips and tricks to it as we go. So behind 2 single doors and 2 garage doors, we're met with a familiar room with a couple surprises. We have auto turrets surrounding the top of the base that'll make it difficult for online raiders to pass, as well as 3 sectioned off loot areas that's going to be difficult to splash. The main area also houses a lot of boxes so you can stash your loot and get back outside. Our first main loot area is going to hide 4 general boxes behind a window and embrasure. This could easily be hooked up to the industrial crafting system to push loot from the center of our base into these or from the furnace. The second room is going to be used for online raid protection and should house our bed, a locker, and some small boxes. If you don't like siren peaks, don't worry, you can always swap this out for a floor triangle instead. This will work great if you have a heavy plate helmet, as this is a really hard place for door raiders to shoot you from. And our third room is going to hold our bunker, which will have our battery and a few other items for safekeeping. It should look something like this, but feel free to lay it out however you'd like. One thing I'd like to point out immediately is if you want to build this bunker, you have to keep this area that I'm crouching in now empty so you can place this door frame. To start, we need a pixel gap. I'm going to show the game lights method, but if you know another way, I'm sure that's going to be fine. The main idea here is after placing these 2 triangles, you have to be able to place this one in the middle. If you can, you're probably alright. If you're following this method, you can't upgrade to HQM, but that's actually perfect in this case because if we did upgrade these 2 half walls to HQM, it would be very obvious that this is where we're hiding the TC. Also, these 2 half walls are technically backwards right now, but that's how I want them to make sure the TC is absolutely as close to the gap as possible, just so it's easy to access when we want to get to the TC. I'm going to place a double door frame that's leading into the base, and outside I'm going to create a standard airlock, but I'm going to keep the middle door frame wooden in case I want to replace that with a garage door or double door frame later. TC is going to go in this triangle, and I'm pushing it as close as I can to that gap that we created earlier. So when you're done, it should look something like this. You could seal in the TC and upgrade with whatever you have. Nobody can go deep. I want to point something out here about the twig roofs. Make sure that they're all pointing inwards, like this one. This is to prevent a rocket splash bug. So anytime we're placing these triangle floors, make sure the twig looks like this. You can add a single door in the front, double door in the back. And this is how I like to get to the TC. I take a small box and push it as far back as possible. And if you turn around, slide left or right, you should definitely be able to access the TC. Just don't forget to rotate the half walls if you did what I did earlier. Stop the video here for a second. If you want a bunker, I'm going to show you how to add one now. If you don't, completely skip this section. So to get started, come out of the base, look to our right. We're going to build 3 triangle foundations off of 1 square foundation. And we're going to add the following walls. This stage, we have to add this triangle to the outside, and we can put this triangle frame inside. That's going to be the entrance and exit to our bunker. So now we're going to build out 9 triangles. And we'll get rid of all of these triangles leading up to it, and including our 3rd triangle foundation that we built in the beginning. And we're going to build back. Make sure that you see the rocks from the twig on the bottom left, and that the green or the blue flowy lines are moving right to left. If you see this, then We're all good. We can actually keep that first square, and again we're going to go out 9 triangles. We're going to build back with square foundations. Make sure you're connecting everything to the squares that you're walking on and not the base on the other side. Place a wall and a triangle roof from this position. Once this is complete, come back inside and we're going to add the triangle roof. And place a triangle connecting back to the triangle that we placed from the outside. So this is breaking our rule for splash protection. And if everything's done correctly, we should be able to place a doorway here and a triangle over top of this frame. And now once we destroy this doorway, the bunker will open. If all this worked correctly, everything is safe to upgrade, including that weird triangle that we placed on the outside of the base. Make sure you upgrade that too. That triangle is just going to be used for honeycomb later on. If you're opting to build this bunker, you're going to ignore the part of this video where I'm talking about the third room because it's already going to be built. Everything else from here on out is exactly the same. The rest of the base is going to be disguised as the same furnace-based floor plan, so it's going to be a 2x2 with square foundations in the middle, and we're just going to honeycomb that with triangle foundations like this. Once you get the walls up, go around the rest of the base with triangle roofs. Don't worry if you don't have a furnace right now. If you're upgrading to stone, you're still going to have 2 opportunities later on to add the furnace when you upgrade to metal or HQM. Once the roof is up, you're going to want to upgrade everything to stone, get rid of those twig foundations in the middle, and decorate however you want for now. In early game, before you get a furnace down, you actually have some pretty good raid protection. If you're getting door raided, you can actually place foundation and just completely seal off the entryway to the rest of your base. This should be a last resort, but it can be a lot better than losing all your loot on wipe day. Now we can get started on the first loot room of the base over here to the left hand side. Remember where you're placing these triangles, keep all the twig pointing inwards towards us. And now we can basically build a standard 4-box layout. If you'd like to repurpose these 2 triangles for something else, you can. And once you're happy with the layout, either cover these boxes with a window or a garage. This area in the back of the base is actually going to be reserved for our defense, so we're actually going to add a bed here. And we need that low wall so we'll be able to peek over this later. It's always a good idea now to start by placing frames. You can always go back and add garages later. So So depending on how you want to lay this out or build your jump up, you should be able to at least fit a locker, a bed, and some boxes. If you don't have Siren Light learned or you don't like the peek you get from it, you can always add a triangle on that half wall and put a campfire on it for better visibility. If done correctly, you should have a really good angle if you're getting door rated. Definitely helps if you have a heavy plate helmet laying around. And don't forget to upgrade. This third room is definitely the hardest to complete, but it's going to house our battery, another bed, and kind of a secret exit that might help if we're getting online. Definitely keep some grenades here as well. I'm using a ladder to help me place this bed. Depending on how patient you are, you may not need this. If all goes well, you'll be able to place that battery, this window frame, and 2 boxes on either side of the bed. Now we need to work on a way out because we don't have a door. I'm gonna put a triangle hatch here, but if you don't have one, you can use a ladder for now. I would put the ladder hatch facing the battery because you're gonna want to be able to get to everything once you're inside of that room. That'll be the least intrusive. And once you're done, you want to place a box to cover this. If you are getting online, especially from the front door, you're going to be able to open that hatch safely, get up without being seen, or you can just use this to throw grenades out into the middle. So when you're ready, we're going to swap out these metal doors for garage doors. We can break this wooden door frame if we haven't already. I'm going to make that a double door frame, but it's completely up to you. And we'll extend that with another airlock later, but we're going to have to do some upgrades first. And thankfully, after a recent update, we're actually able to place these garage doors over the beds. The only thing I would note is keep that roller inside facing the locker, otherwise it might be hard to jump up onto those siren lights, or if you made that into a triangle floor, you don't want to bump your head trying to go up there. Oh, and another thing we can do, fit 2 boxes under here now. Very nice. And so, alright, so I said that there would be 2 chances for you to place this large furnace. Here's the first one. So we're gonna upgrade from stone to metal. So what you just need to do is pick either left or right hand side here and upgrade it to metal. And you have to go around. If you pick the right, you're gonna go to each one and upgrade just the right hand side here. So above this ammo box, that's gonna be the right hand side. And slowly we're opening this base. So there's the other 2. So now if you look up, or I'll show you from top down, the base is actually open, so rust will actually allow you to place that furnace. Obviously someone might be able to jump in right now, so just be super careful and quick when you're actually going to do this. And we're going to place this furnace in the back corner. So place it like you see what I'm doing right now. Try to wedge it as far back there as you can. If you want to place a refinery, you could. I'm going to opt for boxes. You can also place a refinery really at any time. The roof doesn't have to be open for that. If everything goes good, once the roof is all the same grade, it should seal back up. And depending on how forgiving your terrain is, you should be able to replace around 4 boxes on the floor here. Alright, so we want to add an airlock to our base. In order to do that, this roof above the front door has to be metal. It can't be stone, otherwise you won't be able to place this triangle. It's a bug with rust as far as I can tell, and maybe by the time you're watching this it's already fixed. It seems to work okay with basically anything besides stone, so it works with twig. Doesn't work here, works with metal, and also works with brick. So it just seems to be an issue right now with stone. So keep that in mind as you're watching the rest of the video. Whenever I watch these videos, I always get confused when they try to show the honeycomb, so I'm going to show you guys from a top down, and hopefully that's easier to follow. I'm using roofs here to cut down on build costs, but if you don't want people jumping on your base, you can swap this out for walls instead. So if your wipe is going exceedingly well, here's where I would place auto turrets that make it really difficult for raiders to deal with. I would go around the outer ring of the base and place auto turrets above everything. You can of course fit some small boxes behind them as well. Especially this one, where you could peek and have the auto turret peek at the same time, kind of covering the same angle. Now, depending on if you built the bunker or not, you might be able to place another auto turret over here. But for me, if you did not build the bunker, I would not put an auto turret here. I would just hide this box in front so that if you were being raided, you could just open this hatch and throw grenades right at the roof or hop up without being seen.